Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the largest gated community in North America, spanning 26,000 acres in the Ouachita Mountains in south central Arkansas. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and some occasional guests as we explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. HSV Inside Out is sponsored by Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there. Also sponsored by McGraw Realtors, located in the heart of Hot Springs Village, the fastest growing real estate office with over 30 agents and staff. Executive brokers Lori and Ken Henderson, along with realtor and waterfront specialist Rick Marshall, they're eager to share the special features of Hot Springs Village with you. For a complimentary relocation packet, call Ken and Lori at 501-276-3018 or Rick Marshall at 501-601-RICK. They are McGraw Realtors of Hot Springs Village.
Well, we're trolling around here on Lake DeSoto in Hot Springs Village. Lake DeSoto is 200 acres. It's the fourth largest lake in the village, and it is a full recreational lake, which means you can water ski. No jet skis. We don't have any jet skis allowed in the village, but you can water ski here. We're going to take a little cruise around and take a look at some of the townhomes, also some of the higher end homes, but the entry-level price on this lake right now is about $230,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 2-level townhome sandwich unit with its own swim dock. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. The higher end, we've got several in the $600,000. There are homes worth over $1 million that just haven't come available yet. But it's just a beautiful lake. It's the original lake. When Cooper, this was just a creek, and he dammed it up. You can see the dam in the distance there. He dammed it up, created Lake DeSoto, built the golf course, and this is the first lake that you get to, larger lake, inside the West Gate here in Hot Springs Village. He went on to do Lake DeSoto dumps into Lake Cortez, and they dammed that up to create the second lake in the chain. And then eventually the water goes back over the side to the middle fork of the Saline River. The tributaries are natural, so they're spring-fed and runoff. The water quality is good. It's a shallower lake at the west end, but it goes out to about 71 feet deep just before you get to the dam. As we're coming around this side, this is I'll pick it up just the speed just a little bit. We'll see some of the townhomes. Typically there's a 3-bedroom unit on each end and a 2-bedroom unit in the middle. I call them the sandwich units in between. Most of them have either a swim dock or a boat dock. Some of the boat docks have a lift. I do sometimes have people ask how much is it to build a dock, and I could ask my buddy Paul around the corner here. He just built one, but they've gotten to be pretty expensive. A boat dock, one of these nicer ones that are covered with a lift, you're probably have gone from $30,000 to $35,000, maybe even $40,000 if it's got a little swim dock along the side of it. So gone up in price just a little bit.
The $230,000 townhouse that you mentioned, what kind of square feet are we looking?
Just over 1,000 square feet, so they're not real big. The 3-bedroom units on the ends are 1,680 square feet for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and those are going to be anywhere from, well, it really depends on the quality of the waterfront. We've had them go as high as 335, but you should be able to get something on one of the coves a little less than that. This is Paul's new dock he just completed over here on the, coming around the corner. A lot of coves on this lake, which is nice. You can get out of the wind if it's a windy day. The fishing is good. They're mainly bass is what you'd fish for. Not a lot of structure on the bottom of the lake though. It's most of the fishing would be around the docks where there's cover for the bass. I don't have the patience for throwing a plastic worm, so I usually just throw a crankbait out back if I catch something great.
Yeah, this is a nice dock.
Yeah, real nice dock that he just had that one built. I have to ask him exactly what he paid for that. But these are where a couple of those units are for sale. Right up here on the right, that may be somebody looking at one, don't know.
So talk to us about the Town Home Association.
Yeah, in addition to your $113 a month for the POA dues, you'll also have Townhome Association dues of right about $100 for that as well. So you've got to kind of factor in about $200 a month if you've got a townhome here in the village. People ask, what does that include? It doesn't include a whole lot. It doesn't include any of the utilities, but it does include your garbage, which the garbage pickup is a central garbage pickup out there. So here's one of them that's for sale right here. We'll give a plug to Nancy. She's got this one listed. And so that's the middle unit that you see, the gray one up there. And that one I think is just come on for about $230,000. But it's a nice location. This is a great time of the year where right now we're in the middle of May and it's already warmed up. Well, yesterday it was rainy and in the 60s, and today it's going to be 85 or better. So it's just a great day to be out on the lake. We have real long springs and falls, so you can get out on the lake most times of the year without any problem at all.
Covered parking on townhomes?
Most of them do not. There are some that do, but not very many. We've got one peninsula, one street that they do have little one-car garages, but these were built in the 70s. This is, again, the village is 55 years old, and this was the first section developed. So we've got 1975 or so on most of these townhomes. Other homes, the larger homes on the other side of the lake, some of those built in the 80s, but it takes a little more maintenance. My house was built in 73. It was the right house for us, but you're going to have to factor in a little more maintenance on those than something that's newer. This is what we call low bank waterfront, right? You can't get much lower than that.
Yeah, very low bank.
Yeah. We don't have really flooding issues. The FEMA map has this zoned accordingly, and because we have an overflow down at the dam, really it's a controlled reservoir, and FEMA has done exemptions for the majority of the properties, and in chunks sometimes, in batches. So I actually have those on file so that when a seller is selling, it's called a LOMA. They have to provide those sometimes to the lenders just to show a lender that isn't going to be familiar with the flood risk in the area that it really isn't a problem. In the background way over there, that's the Waypoint Marina. They rent boats, kayaks, and they've got a little restaurant there. They're just opening up now for here recently for the season, and they'll be going until after Labor Day, but it is typically a seasonal venue. The far background, that's Kalea Road, and that is up where DeSoto Golf Course is, and there's a walking trail that's great. It goes from right about this midpoint of the lake around past the Waypoint Marina all the way down and alongside the golf course. And if you don't want to stop at that 2 miles, you can add another couple of miles by looping around. So my wife likes to take that walk, and it's a beautiful walk along the golf course and along the lake. We have our own beach. Only Lakes DeSoto and Balboa have a beach. And you can see it in the distance up here. It's that white patch, and we'll go up there and take a closer look. It's near the spillway, to the right of the spillway, where the dam is to the left of the spillway. But that's got nice pea gravel that's been brought in. You've got some boat slips to tie up to if you're out on the water for the day. And there's another walking trail that will go along the dam and down below the dam. So if you're into walking, it's a great location to come out and do some walking, or even an e-bike or bicycling. Most of the trails are hard packed. They're not loose gravel, so you're able to even ride a bike on them.
If people in the audience are interested in the potential or the prospect of living on a lake, any of the lakes in here, I'm assuming, I mean, the availability is going to really ebb and flow based on whatever.
Right.
I mean, what would be your advice if I'm thinking, lake living is absolutely what I want, and I don't necessarily need to be on the largest lake, but I want to be on one of the larger, I want to be on one of the top 3 or 4 in here.
Yeah.
And your advice to me would be?
Well, although we're not in a market that's so crazy like it was during COVID, where we had 8 offers on everything the day it hit the market, there's still a little bit of pent-up demand. So what we're finding is that the activity, things are either selling the first week on the market at pretty close to asking price, or it's taking 2 months or longer to sell with price reductions. So if you're looking at something that doesn't need updating, it's priced right, that's probably going to be one of those that sells the first week. And it's tough to do that from out of state, or really even locally. You kind of have a little bit of an advantage if you're working with somebody that knows what's being anticipated coming on the market. Because I specialize in waterfront, I've done dozens of market value reports for people that are in the process of determining if they're going to sell or not, working out assisted living. For one reason or another, they're just not ready to put their house on the market yet, but I'm still in touch with them. And typically I'm also working with a couple of buyers at the same time. And so like one that we just passed for $575, I was working with some people, and so the third day on the market sold it myself. But those people had contacted me and said, when something in our price range that meets this criteria comes up, and they came down from Iowa to buy that house. So I can do that type of thing just with kind of not an ear to the ground, maybe an ear to the water. That I kind of know what some things that'll be coming up, and then you just have to be ready to buy. And I think that's a little bit of a difficulty right now. I've got buyers in California and some of the other markets that are experiencing a severe slowdown. They've got an increase in inventory, and activity and sales are down. I just had some people from Fresno, California, that thought they could sell their house right away, and it took a lot longer than they thought with price reductions. And there was a Realtor.com story that had just come out same time saying that it was the slowest real estate market in California since 2009. So, and that was the crash. So it's not that while we're a little bit insulated here in the village, that we're not affected by some of the macro things that are going on, we're not completely protected from it either. And so sometimes there's people that want to come here and now are having a little more difficulty getting their places sold so that they can get here. Our market is still fine, although it's a little slower so far in 2025. But I think we're insulated a little bit. We don't have a lot of first-time home buyers, and we have a nice little balance of local builders. We don't either have a glut of new construction and we aren't overly dependent on first-time home buyers. So a lot of cash buyers versus most markets, and that keeps us pretty healthy even when macro sales suffer a little bit.
It's a great day for this. Yeah, I've taken people on that walk across the dam, that DeSoto trail that's by the dog park, and lawn bowling or whatever they call it.
Bocce ball.
Yeah. I like that trail. I like it a lot. So we've taken you on that before. You can go back and find that episode.
It's got rapidly moving water. It's very serene walking down that trail. This is pretty typical here on the lake too. One other boat out here with us on 200 acres. Even 4th of July weekend, Memorial Day weekend, there's quite a few boats on the lake that are still in their docks, but it's very uncommon to have more than 5 boats on this lake. You're not competing to water ski with other boaters. It's like maybe we have a boat and a kayaker, but other than that, it's usually pretty quiet out on, and that's pretty true for most of our lakes. They don't get utilized to the degree of, an area that has a lot of tourists. People are local, they're on the lake every day, so it's not a, while some people do visit and vacation here, whether it's at an Airbnb or visiting family, it's just, it's kind of surprising how peaceful and quiet it is out on the lake, even in a holiday weekend. Just past a little island, we have a little island on the lake. This little one, a little shallow one. I'll usually anchor up there and take the niece and nephew, let them swim there, but that's a little island out in the lake.
Yeah, you don't see a bunch of boats creating big wakes or anything on these lakes, which is good if you're trying to maintain a seawall, I would imagine.
Right.
Your seawall doesn't take quite the beating it would if you were in a...
Right. And you will still see some homeowners have riprap, the rock. Others have the seawalls. It's gotten very expensive to build a seawall these days, so it's good if you've already got one. We'll go up and go around the corner, and there's a new construction home up here. I talked about that there are some $1 million homes here on the lake, and this would be one of them up here around the corner that we'll take a look at. The one that's straight ahead of us there, when we were looking to buy here, the previous owner pulled my leg pretty good. Total straight face, said that was once owned by Michael Jordan. When he got his first big contract, he needed a place that he could get away and kind of hide from everybody, and so that brick one straight ahead there, that was Michael Jordan's place originally, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it's like the Seinfeld episode where George bought John Voight's car.
Yeah.
Except it wasn't John Voight, it was some other guy named Voight.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll go past this house here and then go back over towards the beach so folks can get a good look at that. But We talked about the townhomes, but the homes on this lake, you can be pretty tough to get on the lake now under 400 for a detached home, but it is possible. There's one for 370 on Guadalajara, number 3 Guadalajara. Small 1,500 square foot house with just a carport, partial remodel, but it's 370 right now. So it is possible to get on the lake with a smaller home. One of our friends on the lake built a pretty phenomenal home.
Real phenomenal.
Phenomenal people.
Yep. The Moutons, we've
Yeah.
had them on the show. I need to have them on again.
Well, this is a view that you don't get to enjoy too often, but
No. No, it's, listen, I'm envious of his woodworking shop.
yeah.
Just the photograph
Yeah.
of his woodworking shop. He's got more than, that's more than a $30,000.
Dock, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
with 2 boats,
Yes, oh, yeah.
with a ski boat
Yep.
and a party barge.
I don't want to know what he spent on that.
No, I don't know. I don't want to know either. Or landscaping.
Yeah,
He talked to me a little bit about landscaping, but we'll keep that. We'll keep that to ourselves.
right.
Yeah, we've come to the high end of the lake.
Right.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous house, though. Even if you do have to be a billy goat to get up and down the driveway.
You don't want to have to take your garbage to the curb, do you?
Yeah,
Let's zip across here.
yeah.
That's not too hot yet. Maybe we can pull around into the slip, and then we could tie up and do the monthly update.
Yeah, we're up to April's update already.
Yeah.
We posted today, Rick does a monthly update for all of the lake communities in the village. And I get the Lake Coronado because I'm in that community. We posted that at our Facebook group today. If you're not in the Facebook group, it's a public group. Anybody can join, so I'd encourage you to join. You can see it there.
Yep.
So this is the beach.
Bounce around in my own wake here.
I'd help you, but I don't want to fall in.
No, you're fine. Well, we'll give you a little update here for the month of April, as we're sitting here in mid-May looking back on April. And activity did start to pick up in the middle of March, but not enough to be reflected soon enough in April's numbers. I think we'll probably have some of that being reflected in May's numbers. But we ended up with kind of give you a visual here. So we're really down this year. In January, we only had 25 sales in the whole village. February, a little better, but still down, 34. March, 37. April, 39. Those are not typical numbers. So far, year to date, we're at 135 versus 171 the year before. So we're down 22% activity-wise in the number of sales. Median sales price is also down, but some of that with the median average, half being over, half being under, a lot of those, we had a lot of sales on the under 200,000. Yes, we've got homes in the village that are less than 200,000. Older homes, smaller, that make really good rental properties, and so investors buy those up, and that I think is affecting our average median sales price a little bit. Was actually about 290,000, so it really was a surprise number that it was that low, and it's really just a reflection of how many lower priced homes of those 39 sold last month. So a couple of other numbers, just and poof, he has glasses. A couple of other numbers that are a little bit interesting is that the average time on market, sometimes people ask about that. It was 24 days, so things are still selling relatively fast, but that's down 5 days from last month, so it's slowing just a little bit. Sales are at 97.7% of asking price. Again, sellers are getting their price if it's selling in the first week. If it's not in the first week or two, it's taking a couple months to sell with price reductions, but overall, still pretty healthy there. Like I said, the 290,000 was the lowest median sales price since January of 2023. So that's showing some an average, a lower that's lower than typical. Inventory is growing slightly with 145 homes for sale in the village. That's up 14, so about 10%. And there are 37 townhomes available. That's one more than last month. Price reductions on homes currently on the market, a full 1/3 of those that are on the market right now have had at least one price reduction, and that's up from 31% last month. Homes that have not received a contract, they're averaging 36 days on market. Some listings that have been on the market for longer are being temporarily removed from the market. So sometimes the numbers aren't even fairly reflective of how long they've been on the market, because an agent will take something off the market for a little while, put it back on to show that it's new and restart that clock. But 36% of homes that sold in April were cash. That's actually down from 43% in March. And so with the interest rates remaining at about 6 3/4 to 7, activity is, while it's increasing, it's not reflective just yet in April's numbers, but I think it probably will be in May. And there are 85 homes currently under contract that that are anticipating closing in the next month or two. So I think that will probably improve our numbers. So the biggest takeaways is just that activity has increased, but still not back to normal numbers, and that we're actually in better shape than some places around the country. There's places, California, Florida, where inventory is really spiking, and some of our buyers coming into the area are actually having trouble getting their homes sold in other states in order to come here. So overall, nothing to be alarmed by, but it is definitely a slower year, being down 22% from last year. We're hoping that May ends up with an increase in activity and an increase in numbers.
Thanks for watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out. You'll find all our episodes at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com or on YouTube.